Hi, welcome all. So, we are back today again with the same topic priorities, that is the key to leadership. So, yesterday we talked about the priorities, which what is priorities. In that, we covered certain reasons because of that we are not able to prioritize our lives. So, some of them are like the we talked about the reasons like we sorry, we make so long to-do list that we fail to complete the important things. Then having too many prioritize, which paralyze the people, they are not able to finish anything. Then the third one was when small demands are given too much attention, big problem arises. like छोटी छोटी चीजों पे हम बहुत ज्यादा ध्यान देते हैं, और बड़ी बड़ी चीजें जो होती हैं उसकी वजह से बड़ी प्रॉब्लम्स आ जाती हैं और हम उस पे ध्यान नहीं दे पाते हैं. So it also a drawback to setting a priority. Then the next one is making everything a priority means nothing is a priority. Like सब कुछ priority नहीं हो सकता हमारा. Then we talked about the fifth reason, like sometimes it take an emergency to force people to prioritize. So these were the reasons. Because of that we are not able to prioritize the things in our life. So this we covered yesterday, and also we covered that how can we realign our priorities by following certain principle. So in that we covered five principles. The first principle was work smart, give better result than work hard. Then the next one was you can't have it all. Then the good is always the enemy of best. Then proactive beats reactive. In that we talked about the initiators and the reactors, like who are the initiator. They are proactive, they plan ahead, they think ahead, and they do the things in advance. And reactors are the person who do the things according to the situation. Then the fifth principle was the important things need to be precedence over the urgent. In that we discussed about the what is urgent and what is important in our life. It will help to like prioritize the things in our life. So now we discuss the tools about the setting priorities in life. So earlier we spoke the reasons and the principle, and now we are covering the topic from like how can we set the priorities in our life. So before setting the priorities in life, we have to answer these five questions to ourselves. Like the first question is, where do I need to work smarter instead of harder? Then the second question we should ask, what must I change to stop trying to do it to have it all? Then the third question is, what good things can I stop doing in order to do the best? And the next question comes like, what must I do to become proactive instead of reactive? And the fifth question comes like, what can I do stop doing urgent but important things? So these are the questions which we have to answer. And next Abhishek will cover.
So, friends, I'll be covering very important tool which will help you really setting up your priorities, where it is work life, or it is your personal life, or it is your social life. And believe me, if we have answered to those five questions, see, those five questions are not without any reasons. In fact, those five questions are to ascertain how we are approaching. And once we have given honest answer to these questions, once we have thought about this, because these answers will not come at once, you need to sit, reflect, think, and then probably you can come to some answers of these questions. And then we can go to the tools which we can use to find out what our priorities are, how we can know where we should focus. So the first tool is 3 R's. See, 3 R's is basically the set of three questions, which basically give us no our requirement, return, and reward. Based on that, we can basically prioritize what we need to do basically. So the first question is, what is required out of me? See, in every field, in every phase of life, in every field of life, there are certain things which only we are required to do. We cannot delegate it. Okay, so we have to find out this. Like in your office, uh, if say my job is to bring revenue to the company by selling goods or services. So selling is something which only I'll do. I cannot delegate selling to someone else. Yes, I can delegate certain pieces of that, no doubt about it, but selling is required for me. So that way you can basically find out in your office, from your superiors, from your managers, what are the things which only you can do. And believe me, those will not be a laundry list. Those would be very few things. The rest all thing you can probably delegate to your team members. So, and believe me, as a leader, when we talk as a leader has the final responsibility. And though we delegate, though we do any other thing, but the final responsibility lies with the leader only. So we should always keep that in mind while we are answering to that particular question to us. And the second is, what gives us the greatest return? Believe me, all activities will not give you equal returns. Okay, so we need to find out where we are very good at, which is bringing maximum revenue to my company, or which is bringing maximum no output in my personal life, or what is giving me maximum satisfaction in my personal life. So for example, say I'll take sales for example. In sales, see, I'm very good at meeting the client, giving presentation, but I'm not good at preparing a presentation. If you tell me to prepare a PPT, probably you will break your head. Ki, why I've given this particular task to this particular person. So we should be very crystal clear what is bringing me the greatest return. Now, as a person who is handling say a region, I'm very bad at recruiting the people. So what I can do, I mean, that is my KRA anyway. But then that I can always outsource to my HR, because they're the best judge of the people. So that way, probably I can focus on what gives me the greatest return is meeting the clients, giving presentations, solving their problems, and uh, rendering the service and generating the revenue. And then the third question is, what is most rewarding? See, this is a question which we should keep on asking to ourselves till we find the answer. One way to find this answer is these might be the set of activities which we can do throughout without getting paid even a single rupee for it, or something which is giving me the maximum satisfaction. I'm doing it. I'm not doing it for any gain. I'm not doing it for any trading for money or something. I'm doing it because it is giving me personal satisfaction. Now, what we should do is, to these activities, we should practice so much that we become so good at these activities, people start paying us. One way again to find these activities are probably, what you are born to do. Even that way you can put this question, what is the most rewarding, basically. Now, these are the three set of questions, and this is a very, very, very crucial tool when you apply it in setting the priority. Now, how to apply the three R basically in your life, in a different field of your life. So I'll basically just show you PPT on how to do it, basically, where I've broken down uh, the sales into few parameters of the sales, a few activities. What am I supposed to do, or what basically leads to a sales cycle, and then where I'm basically good at it. So I'll just share the PPT. Just one second. So basically, what we need to do is we need to create a list of activities. Say I've penned down here 7 activities, and then we should have three columns: requirement, returns, and reward, and then the final result. And then we should give it our ratings. uh, One, which is of the least important, and three, most important. Two is the medium importance. So like I've given cold calling for me is of one. Return it gives me is also one. Reward, I mean, I don't like it much. So the entire result is three. Fixing appointment again, my total result is three. Then preparing presentation, yes, I can give outline of presentation, but preparing presentation is something which probably I'd love to delegate someone. Here again, our rating of three. Then meeting client, yes, this is my prime requirement, because this only I can do. Then it gives me the greatest return, and I love it also. So here I've given my result as 9. The giving presentation is again 9. Answering the technical queries, the requirement is there, but probably I can no uh, I can basically rope in someone. And then returns, probably I'm not very good at technical skills, so I mean it gives me horrible returns. So I've written as one. Rewards, yes, I would love to give all technical answers. In fact, so here my total score goes 6. Now answering the business queries. Answering business queries, the requirement is mine. I have to answer business queries. There is no other go. I cannot delegate it to someone else, like my technical person or someone else. So I'll give it a rating of 3. Then returns, sometimes I might falter. So I've given 2. The rewards, again, solving any query, solving any problem is one thing which I love. So I've given again a rating of 3. So total is 8. Now in next slide, what I've done is I've rank no align my activities based on total results of say here 9. So these are the top 2 activities probably I should focus on, or uh, I mean these are the top 2 activities which are of the prime importance for me. And then the second is answering the business queries, and third is answering the technical queries. Now once my priorities are here, I know where I have to focus. Then I should see my entire day's plan, what I'm doing, how I'm doing, and is it aligned to it? Is it aligned to my these priorities? If yes, then it is good. If it is not, then I need to create a game plan. And if we are confused somewhere, say I'm confused कि यार answering technical queries मेरा इतना low priority होना चाहिए कि नहीं? Probably I can go to my boss and I can ask them. I can go to my superior. I can ask them, and then based on their answer, I can change my rating here. If he says कि भाई required होना है, so I can put 3 here. Returns, I know कि boss it is 1 as of date. I can improve it to 2. And then reward, anyway I like it, so I'll anyway focus on it. So this way basically I can take the input also when I'm confused. So this is a way basically we can apply 3R. And uh, after this we have the second principle, second tool, which Jyoti would be sharing with you.
So the second principle or the tool for prioritizing things is the Pareto principle. So this principle is also known as 80-20 principle, and it principle is named after for the Italian economist Wilfred Pareto. So it named after him. So if we see the Pareto principle says that 20% of your priority will give you the 80% of your production. And if you spend our time, energy, money, and personal on the top 20% of the priority, like whatever we are doing in our 20% time, we will give the result of 80%. So we have to focus on this principle. And if we see some examples, like in the sense of time, so 20% of our time produces 80% of our result. And in the case of books, 20% of the book contain the 80% of the content. So as our mentor Mr. Vijay also said this earlier, he told us that you don't need to read the whole book. There are certain chapters in that you get the gist of all the book, whatever is written in the whole book you get in that 20%. So you don't need to read the full book. And if we see any speeches we listened in that also, the presentation, 20% of the presentation created the impact of 80%. And if we see the leadership also, then only 20% of the people are there who make 80% of the decision. Like we can also see the, like in movie also, na, the trailer, that is the 20% trailer. We see the trailer and then we decide whether we have to go to see the movie or not. So here also the 80-20 rule applies. So now if we know the Pareto principle, so how we can apply this Pareto principle in our team? So to apply this Pareto principle, first we have to determine the top 20% of the people when it comes to the production. So identify the top 20% people who are there in your organization, spend your 80% time with them, your effort with them, and help those 20% people to determine what is their top 20%. And we have to allow them to give their 80% time to that 20%. And their 80% of the task they can delegate to someone others, and so that they will be free to do the things in which they are the best. So here we know that 20% people should delegate the most of the work in our organization, and we have to work with them. But the question arises, how can we identify that who are the top 20 leaders in our organization? So for that I just show one PPT. One second, just I will show. So when we have to find out that who are the 20% people are in our organization, we have to write down all the members' name in a list. Like here is the list is mentioned. We have to write down their names, and we have to answer following questions. Like if that person is leaving the team or working against me, there can be three things happen. So the option A is could make or break the team, or it would greatly impact our effectiveness. So that is the most important person. Then the option B comes, that would negatively impact our effectiveness, but it would not break our team. And the C option C comes, like would not negatively affect the team, and it might even improve it. Means they are neither do any bad or good for team. So like that. And next, we have to rank them into the importance by A, B, C. Like we have to write the name. Like here we have written Jill A, Sahil A, and like this we have written. We have given them the ranking, like in which category they fall, A, B, or C. And now we have to find out in A, B, C their priority number. Like if a person is most important and comes into A category, we have to give them the option A1. Then we have to rank same like this, B1 or C1. Then we have to find out, like in if there are five people, there are like we have to take one people from each category, and find out who is the person is the most effective and most important person in our organization. And because of that, we have to retain that person. And that person and that person should always comes into the category A1. If there is 5 people, we have to take one person only. If there are 10, we have to take 2 persons. Like that we can put the priority rank, and then we have to find out the most important person. We know that the person is A1, like Sahil is the person who is the most important person. So we have to talk to them. We have to like find out what more things we can do with him to add more value to him, and we can retain that person into our organization. And if we have the authority, we can move the person who comes into C category. We have to shift them to any other organization where their potential will be utilized properly. So this is the Pareto principle. In this principle help us to find out who is the top 20 person in 20% in our organization. So next Abhishek will cover.
So now we have till now covered how we can basically set our priorities. See, here since we are talking about leadership, we have taken example of people. The same thing can be applied to activities also. The same thing can be applied to a lot of other things. Anything basically. Uh, I mean, what you need to do basically to get good into social activities and anything you can basically apply in every aspect of life. So we have just given you an example. Okay, now once we have learned these two tools, there is one very important thing which, if we do not discuss, basically the priorities thing will remain uncovered as such. So while creating priorities, while filling up our calendar, see, the first thing I have told you on the first day, yesterday, in fact, we should always focus on what is filling my calendar rather than, no, is my calendar full? And the second thing, we should see if there are, yeah, I'm keeping ample margin. There is one very important or one very beautiful aspect of life is it will expand to the time available. So we should basically always try to set some margin. Margin is a time for margin is basically something where you have not allocated any work for yourself. Okay, and why margin is important? The margin is basically important because it gives no, it improves your self awareness. When you have margin, when you have blank space in your calendar, you can basically sit and reflect back. You can reflect back, and you can find out how you have reacted, how you have uh, do how you have done anything, so that it improves your self-awareness. You must know yourself, basically. That is the emotional intelligence. And the best part is by allocating margin, you are doing self reflection, and self reflection is basically the best way to know yourself. So by creating margin, you can have the time to become self-aware, which is very important. The second is margin gives you much needed time to think. See, if we are continuously busy in action, 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 no, then when will we plan? When will we think? So, and as a leader, basically, you need to see anything coming before anyone else sees. You need to see the opportunity before anyone else sees that. You need to see the crisis, risk, anything before any of your team members sees it before. So, no, the margin, the blank space of what you allocate for yourself in the calendar, that gives you that particular time where you can think about all those things. कि भाई अगर मैं ये करना है तो मैं इसको कैसे कर सकता हूँ, और अच्छा ठीक है, अगर ऐसे किया तो क्या इश्यूज आएंगे, अगर नो आज के दिन में प्रॉब्ली कोविड सिनेरियो चल रहा है, इट इज अ पैंडेमिक, इट इज बेसिकली area time of crisis. Now how can I use it best for myself also, for my team members also? That requires some time to think. So basically the margin gives you that particular time. And a lot of people believe your calendar should be completely filled. Actually it should not. It burns you out. And as a person, you need not to burn yourself out. So margin basically provides you the, a time for renewing yourself, renewing your energy. So I mean, if you are given, if you have given yourself some time to think, some time to relax, your productivity goes up. Your thinking process basically becomes very, stable, and you can basically off pressure. You can see the things much more clearly rather than when you are in the heat, when you are in the pressure, basically. So margin basically gives you that particular aspect, that particular time to regenerate yourself, to renew your energy, and to get focused again. Then how, the question is how to create margin. We all are habitual to fill our calendar. We don't want to leave anything in our calendar, basically. To create the margin, we have to be master of exclusion. When I say master of exclusion, we should know how to evaluate and eliminate the things from our calendar continually. For that, we might use Pareto principle, where basically we can have say we have created a to-do list or a priority list. Now we know that 20% of those priority lists will give me 80% of my results. So let us focus on that. Then. If I don't have time for margin, I'll keep on reducing the least priority things from my calendar. The second is, we should always focus on keeping 20% of our calendar free. So when I talk about, say, in a day, there is a 16 hour when you are awake. So 3 hour, 20 minutes should be white. Similarly, you can calculate per year also. So these basically, creating margin gives you time to relax, gives you time to know yourself, gives you time to renew your energy level, so that you can focus and give your best to anything what you are doing. And it becomes so very important. Believe me, we are not habitual of it, but we should, really fight to create that margin, and intentionally. And it is not that we should create that margin and then we are wasting our time or something. We should use that time so that we become completely recharged, we know ourselves better, we have time to reflect and all those things. So that was all for today. I believe somewhere it will help you. And post next week we will again uh, meet with the topic, which is the foundation of the leadership. So we'll meet on Saturday again, Saturday and Sunday. We will cover that particular topic in 2 sessions again, so that it doesn't become very boring as such, and it becomes easy to grasp also. So with that, thanks a lot for watching us.
Thank
Have
you.
a good night.